amongst yourself. The subject is best eclair that you've had ever.
Oh boy.
Or where, or something.
Oh, there she is. There's my sister.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, and I just need to check to make sure the other site has it going. So let me just check that right now. I am checking in on, okay. And we go here. Admit. Oh, what happened to Boxcast? There we go. And more people coming in. Love it, love it, love it.
That's really cool. Yay.
Okay, and now let me just check this. And why am I not seeing the dot? Okay, it should be beautiful. Okay. It may not be doing. Okay. I think that there may be a glitch. So if there's a glitch, let me ask the following question, because if it doesn't work one way, we'll work another way. I thought I had it going directly to the other places, but I'm not sure. Would people be okay if I record this so that you can see it back later if it's not going directly to Facebook right now? Okay.
I am.
Everyone good? Fantastic.
I think that'd be helpful.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to hit record. Record to the cloud. Beautiful. Thank you all. So here we go again. Hi, I'm Susan Costin. I'm the Director of Lifelong Learning at Congregation Emmanuel B'nai Ashurin, and we are so glad you are joining us this Sunday morning. Hello there, my friend Ava. How wonderful. Okay, so we have many generations cooking together, which is so exciting. I will be just here mostly for tech support and to do a little taste of a little dash of Jewish spices later. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our own Nicole Masters, who will introduce herself and then guide us through how to make delicious eclairs. And before she does that, I'm just going to let you know that the next Nicole Bakes ... will be Nicole Bakes ... French macarons on Sunday, August 23rd at same time, 11 o'clock, same back channel. And we hope that you will join us for that as well. So take it, Nicole.
Hi, guys. Today we're going to make some eclairs, and a little bit of background on me. You guys know my face from the choir, so that's how I look familiar to you. But I also am a pastry student at MATC. I'm currently in my second semester, and the reason why I decided to become a pastry chef is because my husband is actually going to be retiring in a year or two, so we needed a plan because I'm a little bit younger than him. So the plan is, because I love bakery, love like baking a ton of things, love cooking. Because of that, I decided that the best thing for me to do would be to open my own farm-to-table patisserie, and that's the goal. So it's out there in the universe now, so it has to happen. So I think we'll get going right away with our pâte à choux. So what you're going to need, I'm going to go over your tools right now for your pâte à choux. You're going to need a pan. You're going to, I got my husband going, slow down. So if you see me talking fast, tell me to slow down too. And you're going to need a spoon. You'll probably need a spatula, and you should have all of your ingredients as well. You're going to need 6 eggs. It'll be either 5 or 6 eggs, depending on how dry your flour is. You're going to need your milk and water combination, and go ahead and combine it, it's fine. You're going to need your 4 ounces of butter, which is essentially a whole stick, a pinch of salt. You will need, and it's okay, take the time, go get a little bit of parchment paper. You'll need that to shoot your flour into the pan. You'll need your flour as well. And when the choux is ready, we're going to pipe it. So you may want to have your piping bags ready to go as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on your stove, make that sure that's going at 400 degrees. I already have mine going. Get your heat source going if you're going to use your stove or induction, which I'm using right now. First thing you want to do is get your water going and your milk. Go ahead and dump those all right in. You're going to want your butter in there too.
Nicole,
Yes.
if you are using a stove, how do you know if it's getting to 400 degrees?
Well, that's your stove needs to be at 400 degrees.
Your oven.
Your
Oh,
oven.
the
I'm
oven.
sorry. I'm from Iowa. We say really funny things, so I apologize. That whole unit is a stove to me.
Okay,
So your oven needs to be set at 400.
that was the
So I'm adding
confusion. Got it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said that was the confusion. I was like, how does my stove have a temperature?
Don't mind me. I do really weird things. I said on, like, I guess in the methods, there's the wrong thing. I told you to put your egg yolks, mix it in with your pâte à choux. It's whole eggs. So, but we'll go over that, I promise. Okay, so right now I have my milk, my water, and my butter in the pan, and I'm going to continue to cook this. You can stir it to make sure that the milk doesn't burn, but you want to do this until your butter is melted. So keep an eye on that.
So what level should we have our stove on?
I would say your stovetop should be about medium to medium high heat.
Thank
Just
you.
as long as you're not burning your milk. Mine will cook faster because I'm working on induction. So if you're working on gas or electric, it will take just a little bit longer. Okay. While I'm doing that, it's always important to keep your work surface clean. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add a little pinch of salt in there too. That's going to help with the stability on your dough. I'm going to go ahead and unroll my parchment paper, and I'm going to take my 6 ounces, which is about 1 1/3 cup of bread flour. Bread flour is important. I know some people don't have bread flour, and right now it's kind of hard to find, but AP will work. Just know all-purpose will work. Just know that you won't have the strength in the pastry, in the choux pastry. It'll be a little soft, but it'll still work. Okay, I'm almost melted. What?
So you can see.
No.
So Jennifer Saber is asking, do you like your induction stove top? I need a new one. Is that what you recommend over electric or gas?
I prefer induction. It's all I use at school, and it is absolutely what I prefer to work on at home. I can control it a lot better. And I did buy mine on Amazon. I got a restaurant grade one on Amazon, but I've seen them on Amazon as cheap as $50, and it's well worth it. Okay, now as you can see how quickly that went, my water and butter and milk mixture are ready to go. So at this point in time, I have my flour in here. I'm going to shoot it right in. And yes, that's a technical term, and I have absolutely no idea why it's called that. Take your wooden spoon, and you're going to start stirring. The idea with this is you don't want to stop stirring, or you're going to burn it. And then keep it going. You're going to get a bit of an arm workout. The reason why we do this is we're cooking off the flour. When you're baking, most people think that you get sick eating your pastries or your batters or cookie dough because of the eggs. It's actually not the eggs, it's the raw flour. So right now what I'm doing is I'm stirring it. You see how it's kind of starting to turn into a ball? That's what we want. Another thing you can do too is kind of move it back and forth on your surface.
There's a question, do you turn off the heat on the stove while you're stirring?
I do not. I just turn it down a little. But you want to keep it going for almost 5 minutes. Again, it depends on the induction or gas or electric, which you'll see. Now I've stopped stirring it. Now I'm just kind of rotating it because what I'm seeing, it's turning into a ball, which is kind of what we want. So if we keep moving it back and forth, little stir, moving it back and forward. It eventually becomes ball-like, and it gets a little sheen to it. So when it gets the sheen to it, that's when it's ready. And you'll also be able to hear it kind of slapping around in your pan. When it's slapping around in your pan, it's ready. Okay, mine is slapping around in my pan. It's got like little ball shapes. So at this point in time, remove it from the heat, get it into your mixer. So I am going to swap because I want to keep it in the camera angle. I'm just kind of swapping everything around right now. So I can
Just
easier
move
for
it a
you
little
guys.
Okay.
Just here for you. Sorry. Stand mixers, I do recommend. You can do this with a hand mixer. It's just tiring. So you don't want to paddle. That's the best thing for this one. I'm going to pop this right in there like that. And I'm going to go ahead and have my husband wash that. See, you all need a sous chef. We're going to pop that right onto your mixer. We want this to cool down just a little bit before we add the eggs in. So we're going to go ahead and start mixing this. Unlike speed, I would say between 2 and 4, just to kind of get some air circulating in there to start cooling it down. Because it's really, really hot. And we don't want to curl the egg. Okay, so I have my 6 eggs in here. I'm gonna pull one at a time in. I usually like scrape down after the first 2, and then I'll scrape down again after the next 2. And then with the final one, I'll do a good bowl scrape and mix it by hand just a little bit.
So there's a question by Jennifer Saber. What's
Yes.
the black thing on your paddle? Hers doesn't have that. Does she need that black thing on the paddle?
You don't. I just find it's a helpful tool. But the one that comes with the KitchenAid or any of your mixers is totally fine. This is just, it extends it a little bit and it helps keep the stuff off of the side of your bowl. So anything you're making won't stick to the side. But it's not a necessity. If you want, it's a wonderful investment, but it's not necessary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding 1 egg at a time.
And there's a question. There's
Yeah.
another question. 6 eggs or just 6 yolks?
It's 6 eggs. I know, don't read the method right now. So just follow or take notes as I'm doing this. So I know I accidentally said 6 yolks because, you know, I probably typed that up early in the morning. So we're going to add for Choux pastry 6 whole eggs. And it's not going to be necessarily 6. It could be 5, it could be 6. It depends on what it looks like. And with this, you really have to go with using your eye. That's one of the most important things in baking is using your eye, not just your taste buds. Okay, so I'm going to add 1. Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. It's going to get loud. And it's going to look, I'm going to be honest, it's going to look. It's not going to come together. It's going to look cellulite-y. It's not real pretty. Okay, I'm going to add another one. Turn down the mix speed before you add another one or you're going to have egg all over you. Okay, turn it up. Now with the second one, you're going to see that it's kind of starting to stick to the side of your bowl. At that point in time, once the egg is incorporated, turn it off. And we're going to just scrape down the side of your bowl.
You want me to tip the camera?
If you tip the can, I mean, you can, but
I don't know. I don't know if this will help.
it's going to make everybody sick. You can't even see it, honey.
No. Okay.
He's trying to be helpful, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that mixing again. Slow it down, add another egg. Again, still it's not coming together. It takes time.
Do we change the speed at all of the mixer? You had it between 2 and 4. Do we want it always at 2 to 4?
I kind of just go between 2 and 4. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to add my 4th egg. Pull it up a little again. Now, right now, you're hearing speed 4. And I'm pulling it up to about 5. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and scrape. You can see the consistency. It's kind of sticky. With choux pastry, you're looking for a dough that's going to drop into a V shape. And when it's ready, it's actually going to have this beautiful shine to it, and it's going to be a nice paste consistency. It's getting there. I'll probably wind up only using 5 eggs with mine today. It's really close.
Nicole, when your mixer is on, we need you to speak a little louder, please.
Thank you. All right, I'm turning it on again. Okay. So I've used 5 eggs. And what you're seeing right now is when this drops, it's going to make a nice V shape. There you go. That's how you know it's ready.
So how do you, if it makes the V, you don't need the 6th egg? Is that
Bingo.
Okay. Did everyone
And
hear that? Audrey?
the other thing too is, I don't know if you can see it. I'll come around and try to get closer, but it has a shine on it. And I don't know if you can see that at all, but it gets this really pretty, like almost like opalescence on it when it's ready. And that's how you know. And it's just this beautiful V, and it's almost a paste-like consistency.
So so after the 5th egg, after you beat it from the 5th egg, you do a drop, and if your drop turns into a V, then you don't need the 6. If it doesn't
Correct.
turn into a V, you need to do the 6th egg.
Exactly. And that's the problem with choux pastry, is that people will add too many eggs, and that's when you get a doughy consistency, and it really doesn't work as well.
Oh.
Right, it gets too wet, and it doesn't rise then in the oven for you.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go ahead now. To me, this is ready. I think it looks beautiful. It's got a gorgeous shine to it. That's kind of what it looks like.
Beautiful.
You can kind of see the shine.
Audrey, how's it going for you?
Yeah, I'm done with the mixer. Thank you.
Trying to
Yep.
keep up, but between my mixer and Nicole's mixer on, very hard to hear.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to talk louder for you, Audrey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of scraping everything off my paddle. Don't worry about getting everything. I know a lot of people they feel that they have to get everything off. I don't worry about that. It's okay. All right. So the next thing you're going to want to do is, once this is ready and it looks like this, you're doing good, Audrey. I see you. You're going to want to put this into your pastry bags. So I do have a tip on mine. Not everybody has a tip, and that's fine. All you need is a pastry bag, and you'll cut the tip off, and you can make them as pretty and as ornate as you want. I'm doing a French star tip on mine, but I am also going to do some with just a round tip so you can see what that looks like too.
How big a hole to cut it in this?
Now, if we don't have a pastry bag, can we just fill a Ziploc baggie and cut a corner?
Excellent question. Yes, you can. That's an excellent cheat. Absolutely, you can do that. And you'll cut the corner, I would say you're going to probably want an inch hole, maybe a little larger. Because I would say when I'm piping mine out, when they come up, they blow up to be about 2.5 inches because they're going to expand in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this one pastry bag first.
There's a question of the tip that you're using. Is that a
Yes.
1/2 inch tip or a different size?
This is a jumbo star tip,
Wow.
a French star tip.
It's about a half.
I would say the tip of it down here is about a 1/2 inch, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not 100% fluent in tip sizes and stuff like that. Cake decorating isn't my favorite thing in the world, I'll be honest with you. I just want to bake everything in the world, and I don't know, let other people do the hard work with the baking or with the decorating. I can cake decorate. That's not a problem. It's just, you know, as you get older, it's hard. My wrists are always killing me and my hands. So what I find, because I'm clumsy, is I use like a tall cup or something like that you can use to help support the bag as you're putting it in. You'll find it just helps you.
Nicole, will we use the mixer again, or can I just throw this in the sink?
Well, not the mixer, but throw your bowl in the sink.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit more. And then I'm gonna switch to, I'm gonna load this other pastry bag too, a smaller one with a round tip, because I'm also going to show you guys a real fun dessert that everybody here in Wisconsin loves. And because of State Fair, they're probably not getting their cream puffs. So we're gonna do a couple of cream puffs too, because it's the same pastry.
So later on, we will learn the Hebrew word, but that's interesting you say that, because the Hebrew word for cream puffs and eclairs is the same.
Yeah, they're the same exact pastry. It's just the filling is different. All right, done. In sync.
You need
Pardon me?
you need to wash it.
I need you to wash the pan. Did you wash the pan? No, I'm good then. Okay. So now is when you get your cookie sheets. They can either be lined with silicone or lined with parchment. And then another tool I find handy.
Why don't you show them the pads?
Everybody knows what silicone pads are. Okay, so what I find handy, and I think everybody else will find handy if they decide that this is something they want to do, is getting one of these little spatulas.
Mm.
You use this to like push stuff down into your pastry bags as well as scraping out bowls. So if you're wanting to work with bread or anything like that, it's a really great tool for scraping. It's really flexible. And you can get these online. You can buy them at a place called Cooks in Milwaukee, anything like that. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm pressing down and I'm scraping this into my tip.
I often see in cooking shows, dessert shows, especially, people using them to spread chocolate.
Bingo. And this is like the most amazing universal tool. It's like 60 cents. They're wonderful.
There's a question of what is that called, so when they go on Amazon, they can find it.
You could just call it a spatula if you want. I mean, you're going to wind up seeing these, but you'll also see these. You can also call it like a bowl scraper. It says Cook's Specialty. I was like, what does it say?
Oh, well.
It was a good try.
He's going to keep trying too. That's what I love about him. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and scrape both of these down just to get them ready. Scraping. All right.
And if you don't have that, how do you push it down?
You can push it down with a straight edge of some sort. If you have like a, oh boy, I know it sounds crazy. You could use a ruler, like something.
A ruler or something, okay.
Yeah, just something
And
with
it
a
looks
straight
like
edge.
Audrey's using her hands, and that works too,
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
like.
You can use the side of your hands like this. Yeah, there's so many things. I'm a gadget girl, so I don't have any like technical astuity at all, but give me baking stuff, I'm all up on that. Okay, so twist the top. That's really important. Otherwise, it just gets all over the back of you. You don't want that. Okay, so now that you're ready, when you're working with a pastry bag, this is off, this is on. So off, on. And we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna do these at about 4 inches long.
Another reason to have a ruler.
Yeah, you can just kind of eyeball it and come up. Can you see what I'm doing? I think he's done a good job with that. I'm going to Make sure you're giving about 1.5 inches of space in between.
So we curl it back on top of itself for a second.
Just a little bit, yes. It helps break the stream.
There's a question of, is that tool that you showed us different than a bench scraper?
A bench scraper is this. So this is a bench scraper.
Ah. So
Um,
it's a little different.
Yeah, bench scraper is generally made of metal, and it's used like working with dough, like bread doughs and things. But you could, if they have one called a plastic bench scraper, you could try that even. I mean, Richard's on it. He'll find the name of it. Okay, so we're going up. Up. This is kind of relaxing. I don't know what it is, but it's just so much fun to me. Look a little like Corinthian columns.
So mine are much more runny than yours, and I filled up 2 cookie sheets, but I still have more left.
That's okay. Just set it aside. And when these come out of the oven, you can bake some more. That's totally fine.
Okay.
There was
Yeah, it's the first time I did them, mine came out really, really skinny, and I had lots of little. That was totally fine. I like making the big ones now.
so there's a question of, can you make tiny ones? Does it cook the same?
When you are cooking, I know I didn't put times on there for you guys, and there's a reason for that, because when baking, time is merely a suggestion. It's never, ever going to be that way. Like 15 minutes on my oven is 25 on yours, or vice versa. So we use our eyes when we bake, and we use our hands a lot to touch and to like tap, make sure things are hollow. So the question is, they probably will cook faster because they're smaller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so now I've done these here. I'm going to go ahead and make some round ones. The round ones are fun because this is what we'll make the cream puffs out of. And also you can make just standard, usually counting. That's what I do. I'm weird. So I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what I use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you're not necessarily using those circles to guide you.
No, I just kind of use them for spacing.
It's called a bowl scraper.
Bowl scraper. There you go. Bowl scraper.
70 cents.
Thank you.
That
And
cooks,
that's a
At
bargain.
cooks.com.
well, cooks cake and candy.
Yeah, Cooks Cake and Candy. They're in Milwaukee and West Dallas. They're awesome. Okay. So
Wonderful
now,
to support local.
I know I love to support local if I can, and the owners are wonderful. So that's why I like to work with good people too. That's like the best. Okay.
So put this back up.
All right, so what I'm going to do now, these are my round ones. These are my traditional eclair shape. What you can do now, so that you see how they have like these little bumps on them. You can leave them if you want, that's totally fine, or you can soften the tip down just a little bit with a little teeny tiny bit of water in your fingertip, and then just touch it. And it just smooths that tip down a little bit. Not a big deal. And you do want to use a wet finger because, like I said, this stuff is like glue. Just kind of touch them. Otherwise, the little tip can burn. Just it's prettier with it down. So at this point in time, hopefully your oven is at 400 degrees. So we're going to go ahead, and you want to have them separate, not on the same, but one on top of the other. Could you put that up?
Yep.
Thanks. There we go. So that it's going on 2 different levels in your oven.
So there is a question of how long can you let your choux pastry sit around without baking it?
I like to get it in the oven right away. If you still need to wait for cooking sheets, that's totally fine, but I wouldn't wait much longer than waiting for another set of cookie sheets. Kind of like when you're working with cookie dough, because it's all chemistry. And there are chemical reactions that have to happen within certain time frames. And so the eggs are the chemical reaction. So eggs, water, and heat. That's what's going to cause that chemical reaction in here. So we kind of want to work a little quick, but this is a little more forgiving than, say, like a cookie dough, which has actual chemicals added to it. So you'll be fine letting your cookie sheets like cool down a little bit and then utilizing it right afterwards. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pop them in.
I would say Audrey's wondering if she should put hers in the oven now too.
If they are ready to go, you go for it.
As they
Okay.
say, you go, girl.
So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set the timer for 15 minutes, and that's merely for a visual check. Okay, so at this point in time, once they're in the oven, you start working on your cream. So we're gonna work on the pastry cream at this point. So, Richard, can you put that in? So we're going to need all of our fun stuff for that. Okay, so for your pastry cream, your ingredients are whole milk, which is 12 ounces or 1.5 cups. You're going to need 4 ounces of sugar, which is about half a cup. You'll need your cornstarch or the clear starch. I'll explain the difference between the two for you guys. For the cornstarch, I would say between 3 tablespoons and 4 tablespoons. I personally don't use a lot of cornstarch just because it doesn't have the set and the set keeping ability that I want in my eclairs. That's one of the tools that you can take with you. And I would research looking into finding that stuff, but I can help you with that too. This is the additional 4 ounces of milk, which is half a cup of milk. We're going to keep that aside with the eggs and the cornstarch because we're going to make a slurry with that. You also need to have your vanilla and a tablespoon of butter. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do your milk first. So your 1.5 cups of milk. Oh, yeah, it's 1.5, right? 12 ounces. So it's 1.5 cups.
There's a question of when a recipe calls for whole milk, you need to use whole milk?
You need to use whole milk. There's a reason for it. You want the fat content.
Aha.
Yeah.
What if you cannot have cow milk? Could you use almond or coconut or something, or no?
You absolutely can, but at that point in time, the best thing to do is to start experimenting. Start looking online for alternative recipes or milk-free pastry cream recipes. A lot of people use coconut milk when they want to do that because it's similar enough in texture to cow milk, but you can use whatever you want. Coconut pastry cream can be quite delicious. So
I would think so. I like coconut milk a lot.
Oh, it's good stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, Rich and I are like, yeah.
And there's a question of what are we putting this in?
Sorry, we're gonna cook it. Your pan.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I need to be a little more specific. I'm used to cooking for myself, so. Okay, so now, go ahead.
Then there's a question, what if you only have 1% milk at home? Can you add another ingredient to make it work to add that fat?
You only have 1% milk. It's not going to hurt to add an extra egg yolk. And again, you could still thicken it with a little bit more of the cornstarch. Cornstarch will start to taste like cornstarch after a while. So you can attempt doing it with another egg yolk. I think in the egg yolk in pastry cream is quite yum. It's really good. So I think you could try that. You can even try it. I mean, you never know. I mean, to me, baking is, it's all science and we experiment. So, and if you make a mistake, There's a garbage disposal. You can keep experimenting until you get it exactly the way you want it. And that's okay.
You can add some cream, whole cream. Or whipping cream.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Richard said, you could probably add some cream if you have cream around.
Whole milk is about 4% fat.
It is. See, I have a scientist here as well, so which he is.
I also saw people saying to add an extra tablespoon of butter if you have skim or 1%.
Yes, that's good too. See, I always follow directions so specifically that I don't ever like think about other alternatives. Yeah, you just need that extra fat. But egg is a good fat, butter's a good fat. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you, Audrey.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and add my sugar, which is half a cup, to the milk. And you can also go ahead and add your vanilla at this point in time too. And vanilla, I did like say 1 teaspoon. If you like vanilla, add 2 teaspoons. You can, it's really truly, it's to taste. After a while, if you add like, let's say 4 teaspoons, it's not gonna taste very good, but I would say keep it around the 1 to 2 teaspoon and I think you'll be really, really happy. I'm using double strength vanilla, so I'm only going to use 1. And I teaspoon sloppy because I like it to
And
just
might
fall
that-
over. Oh.
Might that be our local Penzies double?
Again, supporting our local community as well as, I don't like to get political, but their political views make me very happy as well. So I do support them. Yes. So Penzies, and this is, I don't know if this goes backwards at all, but it's
Yeah,
their,
that's their double strength. Woohoo.
yeah. Oh, it's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so now, again, we're going to heat this on a medium-high heat. And because it's milk, it can burn. So we want to take this to just when it's starting to simmer. So you see little bubbles coming around the sides of the pan. That's what we want.
So do we want our heat on medium?
Like a medium, exactly. You can do medium-high if you're comfortable, but we really, truly don't want to scald the milk. So at this point in time, I'm going to have my lovely assistant make the slurry. Oh, you're going to make slurry, so come on over. So to make the slurry, I want to stir this.
So that's,
You're going to take the additional milk that I had said you need for this, the additional half cup. You're going to take your 3 egg yolks. You're going to combine them, and you're going to actually also use your powder, so your cornstarch. You're going to combine all 3 of those, whisk them really good, and then when this is ready to go, we're going to slowly pour it in. So go ahead and do that.
Why is it called a slurry?
Slurry. Slurry just means like thickening, like a thickening liquid. So a lot of people use it for like their gravy when they're cooking. So most people are pretty familiar with working with like the cornstarch water mixture. It's kind of the same thing we're doing, except for we're using milk as the water and we're using eggs in addition.
Thank you.
Put them all in there. You're welcome. And then you'll have to use this little spatula. Yeah, normally, because if I was doing this on my stovetop, I would be happy to do all that on my own. It's just with the induction, it goes really quick. And I don't want to risk burning this because that would be pretty bad. Don't worry if you do burn it the first time. The first time I did this, it was scrambled egg. And you know what? You can save it. It's called a sieve. You just push it through a sieve and it still tastes great. It's fine. Everything can be fixed. And if not, then there's the garbage and that's all right. Then you try it again. Okay, just gonna let that simmer a bit. Yeah, I said you got that wet. I said you got that wet. At this point in time too, I didn't put it in, but it is helpful if you have an ice bath. So you can have a bowl. I have my sieve just in case I mess it up. But a bowl with some ice like this. That does help because you do want to cool this right away. And also a piece of cellophane or saran wrap because you want to put we're going to cover it right away because we don't want the skin growing on top of the custard when we're done with that. Okay, got it? Oops, missed. All right, I'm almost there on my end. Okay, after the milk has started to simmer, I'm going to switch to a whisk. Okay.
And for our simmer, we only want it bubbling on the sides, not in the middle, right?
Right, right. Because it's going to continue cooking and we don't want to scald the milk. So the best thing to do is add the slurry, and then at that point it's going to continue cooking to what I like to call a boil, but it's not really a boil. What you're looking for is just like it to go burp, and when it does this burp, take it off immediately. It's done. With cornstarch, when you're using that, you do have to cook it longer than you do with the clear gel. It also, like I said, it doesn't have the staying power that the clear gel has, but it works, so it'll be okay. So you see, I'm going to start to pour this from slightly higher because I want a thin stream, and I am whisking the entire time because we don't want to curdle the eggs in the heat. Okay. With the cooking gel, it literally takes no time at all.
There was a question of do you temper it or not?
This is how we're tempering it. We didn't boil the milk, so I'm adding it slowly, whisking the whole time. That's how I'm tempering it. But yes, that's an excellent question. Most custards are made by taking the egg mixture and adding the milk mixture to it slowly, and then putting it into the pot and continuing cooking it from there. Say, you see how mine is starting to thicken? Not really.
I'm not good at this.
Well, you could have just tipped the camera. Okay, so you see, now it's burping. Here we go. At this point in time, it's not sticking.
That's a technical term.
Well, that's kind of what it looks like. It's burping. And it will continue to thicken as it is cooling. So at this point in time, I'm going to remove it and get it into my bowl sitting in an ice bath so that it starts to cool right away.
So is this supposed to thicken in the pan?
It will thicken in the pan. Because you're using cornstarch, it's going to take a little bit longer. Sometimes it can take 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put some cellophane on that right away. And you're going to set it directly right into, on top of the pastry cream, like you would if you were making a pudding at home. To prevent the skin, just get it on there right away.
Now, can you use aluminum foil or no?
No, aluminum foil will not work. It needs to be pastry cream. The reason why you don't want to use aluminum with eggs is it turns, there's a chemical reaction between aluminum and the yolk, and it'll turn it chartreuse green.
Oh my.
So unless you're going for that green eggs and ham kind of thing, I don't recommend it.
Thank
So
you.
yes, you're welcome. So always use, I mean, I am using a stainless steel bowl, but don't use aluminum for cooking eggs ever. Otherwise they just, I mean, even when you're, like if you're making hard-boiled eggs and you notice that your egg yolks look kind of green, you might be cooking an aluminum pan. And if you are, filter green.
Can you repeat what you did once you put the mixture in the ice? What you covered it? Did you say?
Yes.
Covered in cellophane, like directly on top of it. Another trick you can do, some people will put some like confectioner sugar or powdered sugar right on the top of it, and that too can help prevent the skin. But let that start cooling.
Now you
This
use,
go in the fridge then?
You can if you want, or it can sit in the ice bath for a while until the temperature comes down a little bit, because if you put something directly really hot in your fridge, you can pull down the temperature on your fridge, which can make other food unsafe. So
Okay,
we don't want to do that.
okay, got it.
So we saw that you used saran wrap. Could you use
Yes.
wax paper?
You can, it's not going to really stick to it though. The
Okay.
whole thing is we
Won't
really
see
want it to like cling to the actual cream so that it sets, and we just don't want that skin on there. I mean, you
Okay.
can- I mean, I know when I was a kid, when my mom would make pudding and she'd have the skin, I'm like, that was like the best part. And even like the Jell-O ones, like, you know, Richard's like, you're disgusting. It's so good. Okay, I'm just going to check real quick. I got 45 seconds left. Okay, mine are starting to puff really nice. Don't open yours. I opened mine, but don't, because you want to keep that steam in there right now. So they're not quite brown yet. There's a scientific or chemical reaction that happens in the oven right now, choux pastry. The most important thing is having that egg. And when that egg hits that really, really hot oven, it goes, and it creates that beautiful, airy dough on the inside. And it's literally going to be hollow inside. It's going to have like webbing, almost like, what do you want to call it? Like a honeycomb almost, some webbing. So we want that. So the best thing to do is just let it get like a beautiful like honey color. And at that point in time, we're going to go ahead and take the temperature down. And as soon as it gets to that point, I'll show you what it looks like. So then you know that that's when you're going to take your temperature down by 50 degrees. So you're going to want it at 400 to start, and then we're going to take it down to 350.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Audrey's saying one shelf is brown, the bottom is not. What do I do?
Switch up.
Yeah, check over.
Yeah, you
Right.
have to open the door, obviously, and then just rotate them. Like mine, you probably have a really nice oven. Mine's kind of on its last leg here. So it takes mine a little longer than it might take other people. But if you notice that it's starting to get brown, go ahead and take that temperature down to 350. Rotate your pans if one is, because you have some hot spots in your oven. So rotate your pans so that it's trying to cook evenly.
Should you also rotate the tray front back then?
You absolutely, yeah. Just whatever you think is going to try to give it an even bake. It's kind of, yeah.
What color-ish should they be when you take it out?
When you take them out take them out when they're done, or take them out when we're going to take the temperature. Okay, so yeah, you see how pretty your cabinets are back there? That you have beautiful brown cabinets. They're going to be a little lighter than that when they're done. Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna rotate mine. Okay, you see how this one right now is starting, I don't know if you can see the color, if my camera is like fading it out, but it's kind of a pretty honey color. At this point in time, I want to take the temperature down on this one.
But normally you wouldn't.
Mine are
take-
deflating now, but
Nicole, am I correct that unless you need to rotate them, you wouldn't take them out at this point, right?
correct.
You just would lower the temperature.
Because if you do, the air inside is evaporating.
Change.
And you could see that mine were sitting and they were going,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm losing some rise on them because I took my time. So this is like, you gotta work quick here, but safe. That's the most important thing, because a 400-degree cookie sheet is really hot. So be safe. Okay, so now that those are going into their final trays, like I said, check them like I would say this is probably going to take another 15 minutes for them to get to that beautiful color that we want, kind of like the color of oak. I don't know how else to describe it. I did do some that are ready to go, so I'll show you what they're supposed to look like. But you want them to get a beautiful brown color, but not burnt. So it's just that nice sweet spot. You'll see it kind of like molasses is too dark, but like delicious dark honey is the perfect color. I don't know how else to describe it. Once your cream cools down, you can go ahead and put it in the refrigerator. But mine's still pretty warm right now. Okay, so while I am waiting for that, and it's in the oven, so you guys have your pastry cream done, I'm guessing. You have your choux in the oven. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make our ganache so that that can start to cool off. Did you wash the pan? I love this. You guys, hire yourself a sous chef because it's the best. Your pans are always ready.
You can't afford this one.
And he's clumsy too. So. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our ganache. What you're going to want is a bowl. So Richard, can you grab me a bowl? Even a metal bowl is fine. Okay, so I need a bowl to put my, I'm doing a double batch because I baked some yesterday. So you're going to use your 4 ounces of chocolate. If you were using chocolate chips, that's like half a cup. But because there's space in there, you want to do a little bit more than that. That's why scaling with scale, we call it scaling, that's why. If you're measuring items, you're using measuring cups, it's not accurate. Scaling is the most accurate. So if you are interested in baking, always have a kitchen scale. You can get them pretty inexpensively at Target. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cream. At this point in time, we're switching to cream. We're going to heat this up till it also is doing that beautiful simmer that we had done with our creme, pastry cream. So I'm going to go ahead.
How much chocolate do we need again?
So 4 ounces. So if you have, if you're using like half a cup, that'll be half a cup. So half a cup is 4 ounces. Or if you're using like a baking bar, it's like half of a baking bar. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I used a baking bar. But yes, so half a cup. And then it'll be half a cup liquid measurement of cream. You want to make sure you get all that good cream out too. Because the more fat you got, the yummier it is. It's true. Okay. Okay, so again, we're going to want to simmer this and we're going to want it on a medium heat because we don't want to burn it. So keep it moving so it doesn't actually curdle on you. Move that to the side. I'm going to take my chocolate chips or my baking bar and we're going to put it in a bowl. I'm going to get this nice and warm. And I have a fun tip that I like to use. We're going to cover our bowl with a plate or something like that. Once you got the ganache, like the cream and the chocolate added, we're going to want it to let it sit to get the chocolate nice and gooey before we start to mix it. Did you wash me this? Okay, so at this point in time, I'm just making sure that with my ganache, I'm not burning the bottom with my cream. Walk away for a second. I'm going to check. Excuse me. You guys all doing okay? Some people microwave their milk. You can try doing that too. You can get it up to temperature. I'm not a big advocate on microwaving. It kills the proteins. But again, when you are in the process of, saying that you're killing the proteins, you're doing that anyway when you're heating it. When you're here, that's bread 101. We're not going to bread 101.
So there's a question by Audrey that is, my pastry is getting pretty brown and not rising much. What should I do?
If it's not rising much, then you may have had an issue with not adding enough egg or not. You know what? You didn't use bread flour? What kind of flour did you use?
I
Is it gonna
couldn't
be-
find bread flour.
What did you use?
Regular Sarasota unbleached flour.
Okay, it could be the flour, but that's okay. It's a combination of oven heat, quantity of eggs, and sometimes the type of flour that you got. But I would say that it's either maybe your oven doesn't have the I would try getting an oven thermometer and seeing what your temperature is in your actual oven, because it's a reaction between the eggs and the heat. When we have the cream ready, pour it right on top of your chips or your chocolate. And then I'm covering mine with a plate. We're just gonna let it sit for a few minutes and just let the heat do its magic and melt the chocolate. Less work for you.
Brilliant.
I know. This will kill you get really strong shoulders doing this recipe. Okay. So I'm going to move this aside. Did not need this, so that is clean. All right. Yeah. See, my pastry cream's looking pretty good. Salt over there. I'll need that cookie sheet. Okay, so this is kind of what they should look like when they're done. So this is what you're looking for. Once they are at this color, you want to remove them from the oven, and you want to, they're going to be hot, so use a gloved hand. You want to poke a hole in the, for these long ones, poke 2 holes, set them down, because we're letting the air escape. They'll cool down faster for you. And then your round ones, you just need 1 in the center like that. Pop it out. You can use a toothpick, you can use a fork, you can use the tip of a knife, you can use a skewer, whatever. You just want to poke a little hole to let that hot air out so that they dry better. And then you're going to want to let them dry for a little while. Me, because I've already done these so that I can show you the process so that we can try to keep this into an hour for you. I'm going to show you the next step after they've cooled off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix up my ganache. And it's going to look kind of messy for a while. It will come together and get really nice and glossy. Real shiny and pretty. Look at that. It's just beautiful. I can put my whole body in this right now and just take a bath. It's so good. There we go. And it'll be a little bit runny, nice and shiny. And see, it's so much easier if you just let it sit in the steam and let the heat work for you. That's a lot of things that you can do, is just kind of, with tricks, just utilize the tools that you have and nature in its own way. The steam will do its job, the heat will do its job, and just utilize that so that you're not killing yourself. Okay, so that's ready to go. Mine still got time to go. I have an oven that's very, very, very low in heat. Okay. So I already went ahead, when you guys, and your pastry cream is cool and your choux pastry, your little buns are ready to go, you're going to want to go ahead and fill your pastry bag. I do have a tip on mine, a special pastry tip. Not everybody has this, and that's totally fine because you can get away with it. If you have a pastry bag, great. If not, if you got a spoon, that'll work. I'll show you a couple of different ways to fill these so that you understand what I'm talking about. So when you have a little tip like this, you're going to want to insert it into the holes that you've already poked in the bottom. Just kind of pop it in, give it a good squeeze. It's the coolest sensation. You feel the cream expanding the choux bun. It's like the coolest. And be generous. You're going to have some choux pastry that comes out fine with no holes like this one. And then you're going to have some that come out like this with a hole in the top. Take these, set them aside. I mean, you don't need to fill them because you can use them for savory applications. You can use them, you know, like cut them in half and do something really good with like maybe some cream cheese and onion and then do a salmon on top of it and some capers or something like that. And you've got really something nice for a brunch. So don't get rid of them. They freeze beautifully. It's just, unfortunately, your cream's going to pop out of them, and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and fill a couple of these.
What happens if your chocolate is
Like syrup.
it's like runny?
Show me, show me.
It's like
Tilt it. It's really.
Add more chocolate.
Is that okay? And more
Yeah,
chocolate?
take a handful of chocolate and throw it in.
Okay.
Just do it until you get the consistency that you want. It's going to be runny. It's not going to be like a ganache you put on top of a cake. It's going to be runny. So like the consistency of mine is, no, just give me a spatula, it's fine.
So there's a question of what if I don't have a tip for custard?
That's what I'm going to show you.
Okay.
That'll be the next step. Okay, so this is the consistency of mine. It's runny, but it's not like, so if yours is, I would say that's about the consistency you want, where it's coating really nicely, but it's, yeah, it's totally fine. It's because one of the reasons when you're using chocolate chips like that, there's wax in them, so it can take a little bit for the thickness to get there.
So someone shared that they like to put spiced goat cheese in the round ones and serve them as an appetizer.
You are my new best friend.
Right?
I'm coming over.
That sounds delicious.
It does. Okay, I'm gonna fill one more.
Ava.
Okay. And then I'll show you what to do if you don't have this tip. Okay. So that one is done. What you can do is get yourself a bread knife. And this is how a lot of eclairs I've seen in the industry, how they do it. Just cut it in half. Very carefully. Don't cut like me if you're a child. I've been doing this for years. Then you want to take the top. Where did my ganache go?
Sorry.
He moved my ganache on me. Because you don't want to fill this and then dump this when it's split, because you're going to leave the top in the ganache. So dip your top in there so that it looks like this, and set it to the side. And then you're going to take your pastry cream. If you don't have a pastry bag or a tip, if you do, have like a, if you don't have either of these, you can use a spoon to spoon some on. That's totally fine. But you can just take your pastry bag with like it cut and just done.
Could I also just use a butter knife?
Sure, spoon works best. It's a little more
Okay.
generous. And then once you have the two pieces, boom, there's your eclair. So that is one way. And then you would just set it down and let it set. So that is essentially an eclair. So now when you have all of your filled eclairs, just take them, dip them, be generous. Everybody loves chocolate. And they'll look like this. And just set them aside. You're going to want the chocolate to set before you serve. And it, honest to God, it depends on the humidity in your house. Don't put them in the refrigerator right away until they set. They set best at room temperature. That way they keep their shine. If
So-
you put a, go ahead.
Is a day like today that is more humid going to be harder for it to set than days that we normally have up here?
Yes, yeah. It'll take a while if it's, I mean, you can eat it gooey too. I mean, if you don't mind the mess, go for it. But if you're, yeah, pull them out, I trust you. Okay, so then we're gonna set those aside.
And to give credit where credit is due, it was Tanya who shared the spice Choux idea.
Tanya did?
Tanya. So thank you.
Thank you. My email's in the directory. Email me that recipe. Okay. So mine just came out.
These are bad.
This is what they look like. At this point in time, I would poke the holes in it. Set my skewer down. It's right here. These are going to be hot, so unless you have asbestos hands, use a glove or something like that. But that's it. Super simple. And you'll do that with everything. These, you'll do 2. 1, 2. Set aside. And just let them cool, and they'll be fine. The next thing, do you have any questions on what I had just done there?
I would just like to demonstrate how bad these came out.
Turn up. Well, let me see. Put them side by side. I want to see them flat. Oh no. Yeah, there's the egg. It was all egg and heat. That's okay, Audrey. I'll teach you. You and I can do a one-on-one.
Okay, thank you.
I'll come over. Or you can come over. It's fine.
Great.
All right. So I want to teach you our Wisconsin favorite, our State Fair cream puffs. Now they do have their own recipe. I don't know it. I know there is some special little trick, but I'm going to show you how you can make them in your own home and you can thoroughly enjoy them because I know State Fair isn't happening. So this is something that you can do to kind of reminisce right now with what's going on. Take your round ones. We're going to cut those. We want it to be more top than base. So cut them so that they're a little more top heavy. So it kind of looks like this.
So like a 2/3, 1/3 ratio.
You got it. And then you're going to use whipped cream, something super simple. Now when you're making whipped cream, you can make it, I don't recommend using Cool Whip for this. If you're going to actually use like, if you don't want to make your own whipped cream, use like Ready Whip in that can because that's actually real whipped cream and it'll give you that aeration you want. If you're using whipped cream, I do mine everything by flavor. I don't add as much sugar as a lot of people do. But I use a pint of the whipped cream and then I start whipping that. You want to make sure that you take your bowl and your whipper, you know, like the whip attachment, put that in their freezer. You want that really, really, really cold. And then add your cold cream in. And then you're going to whip that until it gets nice and airy. Initially start slow and then build up speed. The reason why you do that is because of cell structure. When you're baking, everything is math, as everything is science. So if you whip it too fast, it creates big, huge air bubbles. And those air bubbles aren't as sturdy as a lot of little ones. So you want to have a lot of little ones. So start slow to build up the small air bubbles, and then you can increase the speed, which then makes the big air bubbles that will sit in between the smaller ones. And
Now,
that's
what
the best way.
What did you say to put in the freezer?
Your bowl of your
Bowl.
of your KitchenAid and the whisk attachment.
The whisk. Okay.
You want those super, super, super cold. It works best.
Excellent. And can I flavor my whipped cream?
Oh, yes. You can flavor your whipped cream with anything you actually want inside of your eclair, or sorry, your cream puff. I put vanilla in this one. If you want to be really fancy, you can put like vanilla paste in it. It's got the little flecks of vanilla, which is a lot of fun. If you want to have an almond one, you can put a little teeny tiny bit of almond extract in it. But you also make sure you put sugar in there. And the sugar is what's important to taste. A lot of people, they put a lot of sugar in. Me, I just do a little bit because I want the vanilla or whatever other flavor I'm putting in to come out. But you definitely need just a little bit of sugar because otherwise it just tastes like cream.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Remember when using almond, go easy. A little bit goes a long way with that. Okay, so I have my whipped cream in a pastry bag, and I did put a funny little tip on it just because it's pretty. You're just going to want to squeeze it into a real pretty like little rosette like that. Just make it pretty. just like that. And then take the top, pop it on, and then you can get real fancy.
See you later.
Hey, give that back. Richard, I need that. This is what it's like being married to
Put in
him.
powdered sugar on top.
Powdered sugar on top. Just kind of, there you go. There's your cream puff. So
Beautiful.
you can really enjoy a little bit of Wisconsin, even though
So
you
you
can't
don't
really live there.
You don't inject it in, you put it on top.
Yes. So are you talking about the whipped cream?
Yes.
So I will cut one open, like you said, 1/3 to 2/3. Take my whipped cream. I mean, you can inject it if you want. I just think it's fun to be pretty. Just kind of go in a little rosette. If you want to go crazy, add a lot of whipped cream. It's up to you.
And then could I put in like slices of strawberry and do layering?
You can. I have these amazing almonds that I had done. So if you really want to be naughty, so praline almonds. Pop those on.
Ooh.
Put
And
this in. And if you want to be really naughty,
And Tanya's suggesting caramel sauce.
caramel sauce works. You can take your chocolate ganache, just go over the top. And then take some more of these almonds and pop it on top. And then you got,
Now you can take it away.
Okay.
I know, it's so good. So good. There you go, honey. So now he's eating that. But yeah, it really, truly, having these basic skills or understanding some of these basic skills, you can create a lot of really amazing desserts. And that's why I wanted to go, and this is to me why I wanted to do Eclairs, because you learn 3 French basics. You learn your choux pastry, you learn a chocolate ganache, and you learn a pastry cream. And those 3 things, you can create so many amazing desserts. I mean, with just the pastry cream alone, because you can utilize that when a cake doesn't turn out. You can cut it up, throw it in a big bowl and throw the pastry cream on top and put some strawberries on. You got strawberry shortcake. I mean, there's just so many things you can do. So this is, go ahead and tip it down. This is what you've done today.
Beautiful.
Isn't that fun? Now
Thank
just let
you
them set and
So
enjoy.
much, Nicole, for this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And just one more thing. I know Audrey had made a comment that there was only 2 of them, and how many eclairs can one person eat or 2 people eat? Well, as many as you want. It's up to you. It's a free country. And then the second thing is these freeze really, really well. So after you have eaten your fill and you want to have more, put them in a an airtight container and pop them in your refrigerator, or sorry, your freezer, and then pull out 2 at a time or whatever you want. Let them thaw out for half an hour and then enjoy them.
Wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Are there any, before I share my little dash of Judaism, are there any other questions for Nicole?
I have a
Yes.
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 I made one that has jelly in it.
Ooh.
What flavored jelly did you use?
Red raspberry.
Ooh.
That's like my favorite. That sounds delicious.
And may I also say, I love your apron.
She's got a cool apron.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Okay, it looks like Audrey has
Yeah.
a question.
My
Sure.
question is, should I wait to fill them until the chocolate has set up?
No, you don't have to wait to fill them. The only thing you want to make sure is that the choux pastry is cool enough that you can handle it. And to me, they should be ultimately room temperature.
Okay.
And then when your pastry cream is cold, that's when you want to fill it.
Okay.
With anything that you're doing with the cornstarch, if you're using that, you don't want to let them sit out. You want, as soon as that chocolate sets, get them in the refrigerator right away, because it won't hold it set.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and then freeze what you want right away with those. So if you have a bloom on your chocolate, you have a bloom on your chocolate. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Right. It's still chocolate.
I know, it tastes amazing regardless.
Right. Okay. Thank
Oh.
you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Any other questions before I share a dash of Judaism? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go here. Okay, so slideshow, play from start. There we go.
Uh-huh.
Little,
That's
Hey.
really fancy.
thank you. I try. So I thought once your food is done, since Judaism always says that we should never eat anything without blessing the one who gave us the ingredients, which obviously includes God, but also includes our farmers and our grocers and everyone and every store, like the spice store and the baking stores. So we think about all of them when we say this blessing. And the blessing specifically for eating eclairs is a blessing we do for all pastries and for all sweets, which we know, which if you know how blessings work, we know the first 6 words, and then the last 3 words are Borei, Mine, Mizonot, which are who creates many kinds of food. So the whole blessing is we praise you, Adonai, or eternal God, sovereign of the universe, who creates many kinds of food. And it is Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Minei Mizonot. And I say B'tei Avon, which is the Hebrew equivalent to Bon Appetit. So may you enjoy that. I have down here the Hebrew word, which I said is both for the cream puffs you made and the eclairs you made, which is pachazanit, and a plural would be pachaziniot. So enjoy your pachaziniot. And I have a special surprise for you. When I click the beautiful eclairs and cream puffs, I am able to pull up for you. I couldn't believe I found this.
I love
A
this.
Passover cream puff and eclair recipe, everyone. So even on Pesach, even on Passover, you can enjoy. And this is Tori Avi, who really has incredible recipes year round and is definitely a gourmand. So the fact that she approves of these, she says that it was originally done by Stanley Ginsberg, award-winning author of Inside the Jewish Bakery. And it actually has matzah. It uses matzah in it for your choux. So I will be putting this link up. Well, my 2 slides will be available later on today in our online learning page. And they will also be on our Facebook post because this is live right now on Facebook. So I will attach it to that. And if I can, I will also attach it on our YouTube page as well.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you. I'm going to not share so I can see everyone and see the comments because I think there might have been one more. Jen, did you get you had a question about who I was just reading about. You'll have that link. So you'll have one of her pages and then you can go to all of her other things. And yes, I do believe she has a Facebook page. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But I think from her website, you can get the Facebook page. So once again, thank you, Nicole, for opening up your kitchen to us. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. As I said, August 23rd is our next Nicole Bakes, and it's Nicole Bakes French macarons. And we will even learn the difference between a macaron and a macaroon, because they are different things, but they actually come from the same family. And and here's one little taste of Judaism as we move forward. They are both kosher LePesach. So there you have that piece of information. Thank you all so much. Oh, look, we see another one of the family there. Hello, I'm not saying your children's names because I don't want to say that since it's live on Facebook. Okay, but it's good to see all of you. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you especially
Thank you.
to those of you who joined us from out of town. That means
Yes.
a lot. So thank you. And thank you for those who joined us in town. And the next adult learning opportunity, if you are female or identify as female and you are at least 18, is our Rosh Chodesh group, which will meet at 7 p.m. this Tuesday night. Thank you all very much. Litrod.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks a lot, Nicole.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.